proceed to the next part of the program. Now, dynamic workplace intelligence takes traditional office printing capabilities into new realms by connecting reliable print hardware with smart software, scalable technology, and of course, sophisticated applications to make everyday workflows easier, faster, and more secure. Now, of course, a smarter workplace means a more agile and capable, and of course, a productive business. Now, to continue this afternoon session, we have Ms. Macy Asupan, who will be tackling about how the organizations can shape the dynamic workplace intelligence. Now, let me introduce our speaker for this afternoon's event. Now, Macy is a human capital enabler positioning HR as strategic partner for business growth and success. She is also a strategic and innovative human capital development practitioner who translates organizational vision into initiatives that promote profitability, customer experience, culture management, cost efficiency, and impact. Now, she is also a leader enabler who speaks the business language and supports top management with steadfast belief in the human resource as drivers for of business success. Passionate as well and highly committed influencer who thrives on adversities and supports broad goals into actionable value-added achievements. HR professionals and people managers, we have Miss Macy Asupan. Hi, Macy.
Hello, good afternoon. Hi, Jasper, and let me offer my congratulations to the organizing team for putting all of these together. I can see that your heart, your dedication, they are into this activity. And yes, I'd also like to send my congratulations to everybody who participated in the fourth Philippine HR Assembly. I hope that everybody is learning a lot. That's something that we can use in our transition towards the new normal. Okay, so
Right.
I'm glad.
Okay. Okay. So before we show your presentation, can we also have your presentation ready as well as we would also like to check your microphone if it's are you using a different microphone or headset. You might want to check so we can hear you clearly. We can hear you, but of course we wanted to hear you perfectly. So probably you might want to check also your audio. So with that, though, before as we prepare for the audio of Miss Macy Asupa, no, we are now getting ready for our the next and final panel discussion, which will be later. And the panel discussion topic is about the methods of managing and engaging employees during the pandemic, which will be led by our panel chairperson Oliver Rickelman, together with our panel members. Now, as we prepare for the microphone, will you able to navigate through your cam or mic settings and audio and selected the proper microphone?
Yes, I'm actually using a different microphone now, but is this one better?
Okay. Have you tried clicking the cam or mic and then the audio setting?
Yes,
If you're
yes.
okay, if you're in the audio setting, you might want to click the mic and then select the mic attached to your device, probably a headset or communications written on the microphone. But anyway, we all right. I think you have switched it to a different mic.
Okay, is this better?
Yeah, I think it's workable. All right.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Do you have your presentation shared now?
Yes, I'm sharing it now.
All right. Okay. I think I can't see it yet. Can you please click the share button in between the comment mark and then the invite? All right, so please stay tuned as we prepare. So again, we'll be giving away prizes later after this event. Of course, we also have as our last plenary speaker, we have Miss Karen Ibasco, the mentor of Packet Mentor. Okay, okay, there you go. I think I can see your screen now. All right, the floor is yours, Miss Macy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jasper, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm actually very challenged to discuss this particular topic because there are very limited resources regarding this topic. But when I was invited to attend this assembly, I'm also thinking that I'd also like to learn during the interaction. So I'd like to work on a topic that will also increase my knowledge, somehow improve my understanding of how much more can we improve organizational development and how can we make sure that we are helping our talents in the organization to be more empowered to support business goals. So this afternoon, my topic is about shaping companies' workplace intelligence, or W2. I'll be sharing you basic concepts, and then hopefully I can share with you a framework on how you can integrate it in the workplace. Now is actually a very good opportunity to look at what do we have in terms of workplace intelligence and how can we make use of that to be more flexible in adjusting to whatever would be the external challenges that our organization might face in the future. So at your service, my name is Macy Asupan. So I'm actually an accidental HR practitioner because 18 years ago, I'm doing HR just because it's an integral part of my formal designation. But along the way, I found out that I really like to learn more about human interaction and how I can make use of the knowledge and the observations that I have made in the front lines to develop programs and policies that will ensure that my employees, my colleagues will be happy in working with the organization. So I'm a sales and marketing professional. But nowadays, I'm into HR consultancy. So I'll be discussing several examples from the partners that I have worked with as I go along the presentation. I hope that you can also find tips and techniques from those case studies.
All
All
right, Miss
right.
Macy, before we proceed to your next topic, would you like to unplug your microphone because it seems that this topic is very interesting and the audience really want to really grab the takeaways from this topic. Would you like to unplug the microphone you're using? And
Yes,
let's
I've
try.
already unplugged it.
I
So can
see.
you hear me better?
Okay. All right. So probably we'll check with you at the back end so that we'll have a good conversation with you. I'll have contact you by our PHR administrator, and probably we'll get back to you shortly to continue the session. Okay. So with that, thank you very much, Miss Macy, and of course, see you in a while as our PHR administrator contacts you for
Okay.
assistance. All right. Okay, so thank you very much. So again, now as we prepare for the part of Bismesi Asupan Plenary Session 5, Shaping the Dynamic Workplace Intelligence, no, we are again inviting everybody to join the certification program of CPHR, which is on January 7 to 8. So for more details about the program, no, feel free to visit our website, www.cphrph.com. Now, as we end no, the event probably later, no, and of course we get to see new participants no, next year. No, I would like to get your thoughts and probably insights and ideas as to what topics would you like us to have next in the next event. So please comment down below what topics are you interested to know more about. Probably you might want to um, include speakers so that we can probably inject these topics in the next PHRA. Now we do our PHRA biannual or every May and November. So you can catch us again on May. So, all right. Why don't we check the comment sections? No, what topics would you like to know next year, especially with the changes that we are to have in the year 2022? Okay, and any topics would you like to uh, know more about? Would you like to know more about data analytics? Would you like to know more about HR technologies? No? Would you like to know more about other probably employee engagement programs for the return to work? No, we'd be happy to include that in the sessions. So again, for this one, for this event, of course, we would also like to thank our partners for this event. Now, also thanking the following partners. We have Swiss Miss, Nissan Yakisoba, C2, Great Taste, Magic Flakes, Nissan Cup Noodles, Cloud CFO, as well as Velmico Foods Corporation. And we also want to thank Quest Dental Material Corporation for partnering with us as well. We also have our media partners, Inquirer.net, as well as Inquirer Pop, When in Manila, and of course our industry partners. So these industry partners have their Facebook group, so you might want to check and join the following Facebook group, so you get to share best practices, learn from experts, and even collaborate with professionals who you can ask questions about anything related to human resource. So we have, you may want to join now, Philippine HR Council. We also have Philippines HR Practitioners. We also have L&D Network Philippines. We also have HR Calabarzon, and of course Clark HR Council. So with that, no, please do join our Facebook groups so that we still get to connect with each other. That's how we build a network here at CPHR. All right. So for this one, yes. Okay. Probably we can probably check the comments below, no, for some insights a while ago from the previous speakers, no. According to Kevin De Leon, he was supposed to ask, what can you show about companies using AI as a form of evaluation? Does it violate the two-way of feedback for the two parties? Of course, it's not just the speaker who can answer this. Probably HR practitioners here watching us, as we have, of course, seasoned leaders as well. So you may want to, share your thoughts, insights, and practices at the comment section. So if you have a answer for Kevin De Leon, please type down in the comment section. As well as, of course, there's always a learning experience attending your webinars. Thank you very much, Donna Cruz. Of course, we also had happy viewers here from a while ago. Great presentation of Jonathan. We had a lot of takeaway. I'm sure you did really had a lot of takeaway. Also, we have seen comments from various people here. Okay, allow me to browse through the comments. All right. Okay, there's a lot of comments here a while ago because the speaker Jonathan Yabut was had a very interactive learning session. So all right, team, please let me know if it's ready. I guess all right, the audio of Miss Macy is okay now. All right, Miss Macy, would you like to try your audio?
Yes, can you see if this one is
Okay,
better
that's better.
now?
That's better. Right,
Okay,
right.
I do apologize for
Okay,
that technical glitch.
no worries, no worries. Okay, would you like to prepare your screen as well?
Okay, so at this point, actually, I'm about to present the objectives of
Mm-hmm.
my presentation. So hopefully at the end of my presentation, the participants will be able to get all of those three objectives. So not in one sitting, but perhaps that's integrated in their next year's program. So before I proceed and while I'm sharing my screen, may I also ask our participants, our attendees now, who are online to please type in your ideas on what workplace intelligence is all about. So when you hear the word workplace intelligence, what word comes to your mind? So please type in your answers to that question and I'll be looking into it later on so that I can have a check back on what is the current knowledge of our participants about workplace intelligence. So again, the goal or the objectives of my presentation would be hopefully for my co-practitioners to also appreciate the value of workplace intelligence and then be familiar with the 7 metrics of the workplace intelligence. Actually, there could be a lot of metrics. Some of them are being explored already in your organization, or maybe this is already an integral part of your workplace processes.
But perhaps with this framework, you would be able to look into how we can further simplify the metrics that you may already have in your organization. And lastly, hopefully, I can encourage you to come up with an action plan that will hopefully give you a better perspective of what workplace intelligence is in your organization. So let's go and explore what workplace intelligence is all about. Normally, and I've also seen a lot of literature among technology companies who are very staunch advocate of intelligence. Anything related to metrics, anything related to data, they'll be the ones to introduce that to the market, to share to the world. And one of those would be Microsoft Office. So just a disclaimer, I'm not part of Microsoft, but this video that they prepared to introduce workplace intelligence as part of one of their products. This is worth looking into. So let me play this video so that you can have a very broad, general idea of what workplace intelligence is all about.
How do you measure success? There are indicators every business uses: revenue, time to market, customer satisfaction. But it's not enough to just measure success. You need to drive it by leveraging your most powerful predictor: people's day to day actions. The behaviors of people and teams, how they communicate, collaborate, navigate processes, how they network, innovate, and build customer and partner relationships. All these actions directly impact your business outcomes. Because what separates high performing organizations from the rest is the way people work. If you could quantify how everyday work impacts your business, then you could better predict and control your outcomes. The good news is you already have the data you need to identify and then replicate the patterns that lead to success. By harnessing these critical insights, you can understand and then influence how work happens. With this knowledge, you can engage your workforce and empower people to move more swiftly, foster innovation, feel happier, and create more value for your customers. This is what will separate you from the pack: a powerful and continuous cycle of improvement that unlocks new potential and predictive capabilities for breakthrough business performance. This is workplace intelligence.
Okay, so let me just then share my presentation, and I'm actually looking at the chat box. So there is a comment from Bibel Alpas, the workplace intelligence is about lesser manual effort. Okay, and from itself to Gonan, it's better. Yes, well, definitely if you include or integrate workplace intelligence, you will be expecting better results. All right. So please type in your answers as we go along the way so that I can also have a check back on what is the generic idea of our practitioners here on workplace intelligence. So let me continue with my presentation. So it's not actually surprising that the word workplace intelligence is not very popular. Okay, unlike when we talk about emotional quotient or emotional intelligence, which is more popular among practitioners. So let's see, how is it different? Okay, what is EQ? What is WQ? And how can we make use of WQ in improving both the business bottom line and people growth? All right. So, okay. So, if you are familiar with EQ, you know that we are talking about our individual contributors' intelligence in terms of emotional management. So, if EQ is employees, WQ or the workplace quotient or workplace intelligence is the teams and organizations. I'm going to adopt what Sean Murphy, founder and CEO of Work IQ, okay, who defined the word workplace intelligence as the art of creating a better experience of work that drives tangible business results. WQ can actually differentiate a workplace okay, that is marred with concerns about attrition, okay, and loss of talents, okay, and an organization that is fully supported by its employees and is actually a revered employee, someone who is an employer of choice. So Sean Murphy, okay, and his company Work IQ is one of those few organizations who are into improving WQ across organizations. So perhaps this is also a very good opportunity for some of you who'd like to come up with a Filipino centric WQ metrics. Now might be a good opportunity for you. So let me go back to that description. Sean said it's an art, but for me, it's also a science. It's a combination of data, okay, and the use of certain information so that you can come up with the right metrics that will measure what would be important for your organization. So please take note, we are not promoting a certain framework, but rather we are recommending certain areas that you might want to include in your WQ metrics. So this is ensuring that as business, the reason why we would like our organization to have a higher EQ, we'd like to make sure that as our business grows, our people, okay, who are the drivers of growth, are also growing. They are also progressing. So again, when we have higher workplace intelligence, we have higher business growth. Okay, that's a given. And our people can also identify with that growth. They are part of that growth and they understand that they contribute to that growth. And then in the use of tools, it's not just an art, it's not just a management practice, but it's also the use of science, the use of technology to come up with those data that will make sure that the metrics that you are using are relevant to your business goals. So that's a very broad definition of what workplace intelligence is, but it's easier to understand if we remember that EQ is for individual contributors and WQ is for teams or organizations. It's a form of metrics, okay, that will evaluate whether we are creating the right environment for our people so that they can fully support our business priorities. Benefits of understanding WQ, and I am encouraging our leaders here to try to look at the broader goals of WQ. So more than reporting it during your executive meetings, or perhaps include this in your regular reporting duties during the management committee meetings. This is this should be part of your strategies to make sure that we are creating the right balance between business and our people experience. So benefits, I've mentioned that business and people growth. So the higher the WQ of your organization or teams, then the higher would be the parallel growth of your business bottom line and your people development. The second benefit would be the increased creativity and innovation. So I'm actually listening to what Sir Jonathan Yabut was presenting early on. He said that you don't really have to come up with new tools, new technology, or purchase new uh, systems for your organization as part of your creativity and innovation projects, but you can actually make use of your creativity and innovation to optimize your existing resources in the organization. So in that manner, you are actually supporting people growth because you are expanding, okay, the capability of your talents, and at the same time, you are also supporting business growth because when you optimize your existing resources, okay, that will be additional savings. Okay, so next benefit would be a stronger execution of key initiatives. So this year, one of the challenges that we have encountered as HR practitioners would be that some of our employees do not want to be vaccinated, right? And for me, organizations with high WQ can actually see the benefit of why do they have to be vaccinated. So if you introduce something that might be challenging, Okay, to your employees, it might mean adjusting their work hours. It might mean being deployed to a different geographical location. It will be easier for them if the teams have high WQ. It will be easier for your employees, for the teams to collaborate and look for solutions to overcome the challenges rather than to think of the difficulties. In that manner, you can easily execute key initiatives and change management. Okay, it can improve your change management. That is the third benefit. The fourth benefit would be we are encouraging an optimistic work environment and you have an exceptional online experiences. So nowadays, the social media platform is one way in which we can gauge whether our employees are happy or not, right? So if the environment is a happy place, there is a positive vibe, okay, what your employees and your teams are experiencing are actually being transmitted to all those social media platforms. Okay. So what they are experiencing within are actually being communicated outside. And that will give you an idea of how your employees perceive the workplace. And lastly, and I think this is very important, we'd like to be the employer of choice. So if our leaders and if our HR practitioners would have a strategic WQ metrics or standards of measurement in place, you can actually evaluate the things that matter to you so that you can become employer of choice. So we would like to encourage or promote a positive workplace culture, okay, that will lead you to be a revered employer, someone who will get, okay, very loyal and supportive manpower. So these are the benefits. There are a lot more, but these are five very important benefits that I believe you will agree with me are quite important. So the ultimate goal of WQ would be to focus on positive business outcomes and results. And then we also care about the people who drive and create them. So again, it's not just the business growth, but it's also the people who are growing with the organization. It's the collective contribution of those individuals that make up teams who are supportive of the business priorities, and in turn these teams also make up what the organization is all about. So I'll share with you this visual anchor. These are the recommended focus areas of WQ. So if you'd like to come up with metrics, you might want to look into these focus areas. So culture and workplace climate, transformational leadership, purpose-driven performance, employee engagement, creating an optimistic workplace, and social intelligence and community building. So this is your visual anchor. You might want to screenshot this and then save this for future reference. Let me go through them one by one. So the first one would be culture and workplace climate. So I'd like to know how many of you here are regularly conducting workplace or culture climate surveys? How frequent? Okay, is this part of your process? Do you do this annually? Do you do this semi-annually or every 2 years, or only if there is a requirement or someone asks you to come up with it? How regularly do you conduct culture and workplace climate surveys? So culture and workplace climate is part of measuring the WQ because this is consistent with what we are aiming for. And that is to see whether the work that is being done by our people are actually making them happy. So the focus of the culture and workplace climate focus area would be for us to understand how do we get things done, what is our process, okay, what are the structures in place, and how do our teams feel about that process, about that structures. Are they happy? Are they positive? Are they optimistic? Generally, what is the vibe of our teams when it comes to workplace climate? So that is the first focus. The second focus will be about leadership, and we've already established this that everything, okay, can actually be supported if our leaders also know how to make use of their innate talents and strengths in inspiring peak performance, and how do they make use of their influence and impact, okay, to support, encourage, and empower their people. So the higher the WQ of our leaders, the higher would be the opportunities for them to mold our teams, okay, to mold our teams to peak performance, and to also encourage and develop a supportive, okay, and positive work vibe. Transformational leadership. The third focus is about purpose driven performance. So we are looking at how clear are the results. Okay. How aligned are the results to the overall business targets? Okay. Is there a radical candor, like people can actually talk, discuss, give feedback? Okay. How fast do we communicate so that we can look into solutions rather than problems and challenges? Okay. How fast can we communicate difficulties so that we can rely on the other teams to support us, because we are looking at one big picture. We are looking at the same goals, purpose driven performance. And I think the most important part of this focus area would be how clearly aligned or somehow aligned or closely aligned are our teams to the company's mission. So you might want to look into the answers of your exiting talents, okay, and try to understand whether part of the reason they left that organization is that they do not align with the company's mission. And that is a clear sign that you might want to focus on this particular area, okay, to improve your WQ score. Okay, so please type in your comments as we go along. For number 4 focus area, it's employee engagement. We already have employee experience, I know, but for this particular presentation, I'll be using employee engagement. So there's a thin line between being engaged on the job and being engaged 100%. It's a state, okay? It's a feeling that you would like to be part of what the organization is all about. There is a positive emotion every time I enter my workplace. And I find the energy, I don't have any excuses in doing great work. So these are the things that we are looking at when we measure WQ in terms of employee engagement. We're looking at teams who would know how to transfer, okay, the workload after it's done in their respective teams. Okay. And then they will refer it to the next department, okay, with 100% quality, because they will know that the next team will need it. Okay, there is no excuse, okay, only support, okay, and the immersion to what the work is all about. That is employee engagement. Okay, I'd love to see teams wherein everybody knows what they are supposed to do, they know how to do it, okay, and they would know the impact of their job, of their finished work to the other teams in the organization. That is engagement. The next focus area, creating an optimistic workplace. Okay, it's very challenging, I know, especially for those who have work from home setup or telecommuting. But this will always be part of our mandate as people developers. We would like to have leaders who can shape, okay, a positive vibe in the organization. We'd like to make sure that our employees understand, okay, and appreciate that whatever challenges that they might be encountering in the workplace, every hard work that they are contributing on the table, it will pay off. Okay. And employees focus on solutions. They work together to find solutions rather than to focus and waste their hours talking about what happened. Creating an optimistic workplace. Next is social intelligence, and this is about creating an authentic online reputation. So whatever is happening in the workplace, that should be in the social media platform. It should not be the social media platform that is espousing positive vibes or positive things about the organization, but it's contrary to what your employees are experiencing. I like what Airbnb did, that they are encouraged for a time, they encourage their employees to visit and stay in their rentals, okay, and they let the employees feel, okay, and go through the experience of being a guest in their rental homes. And as part of that activity, they ask those employees to talk about how they experienced it, what will be the things that we can improve on, and how can we make it better for our guests. So the experience with all the challenges, the problems, and the lessons that they have learned, they shared it in the social media platform. Okay, they presented it in white paper and they gave it to those who would like to know more about how they can improve customer experience by including their employees in the process. So that's creating and maintaining an authentic online reputation. Okay, okay, you talk about what really is happening in the organization. Okay, positive and negatives. And what did you do with those negatives? That's being authentic. That's being true to what you are of as an organization. So if you are doing that, okay, if your employee experiences are the same with what you are posting on social media, then good job. You have a high WQ score. And lastly, it's community building. So it's somehow similar to the number six focus area. But the focus here now is the customer. The ultimate goal when you have a higher WQ is for you to create brand ambassadors. You'd like to have loyal customers who will give you referrals, who will go back to you because they believe in what your products are all about. They believe in your organization and the society where you are operating in, that's also your community. You have a very good relationships with them. So if you're going to look at the seven focus areas of WQ, we are talking about the organization as a whole, the teams that are operating within that organization, and the society where we are operating in. Those are the three major facets of WQ, and these are the seven focus areas. So, from these insights, from these concepts, how can we integrate this in the workplace? So, again, as I have mentioned, there really is, there are very few, okay? There are very few practitioners. And this will be a great opportunity for those management consultants to develop something that might be more relevant to Filipino organizations. But if you have a culture expert in your organization, someone who is really focused already in creating a positive workplace, then you can already deep dive into the assessment stage and see what would be the opportunities for us to expand our WQ measurements. So you assess, again, we go back to the assessment of what is our organizational VMVG, vision, mission, values, and goals. How do our employees and teams support these? How can these be achieved? What would be the things that we are great at? So go back to the focus areas and try to identify in which area are we already excelling in and in which area do we need to improve on. And then who would be the primary movers and shakers? So WQ is a good tool. And if you'd like to go through this, make sure that you have a very good team who will really work into this, okay, so that we can get better results moving forward. So you assess what do you already have now? How can we make use of those existing parameters? And how can we expand it by using the other focus areas as recommended in the framework? And then second is you develop. So you define the metrics per focus area. You align it with your larger business goals, okay, to make it more relevant to the organization. Integrate it in your performance management system. Optimize online tools for data consolidation. Train leaders, train employees. So I'll go back to the optimization of online tools for data. So when we talk about culture, behaviors, practices, sometimes it could be too laborious, right? To get all of those information, you might want to make use of technology. You might want to set up a structure that will allow you to get all of those information fast. Okay. When you train leaders, okay, if technology might be a bit challenging, you might want to train your leaders, okay, to have the basic knowledge on how they can spot check, okay, or how they can check the climate, okay, even without prompts, okay, and what would be the red flags that need to be cascaded or communicated to the upper management. So we should also train our leaders to do spot checks whether our employees are happy or there are things that we need to talk about because it's not giving us the right vibe that we'd like to create for the company. So you develop. So again, this is for internal. It will be easy for you to get someone from the outside to do this for you. But I will always encourage you to do this internally so that you can also understand how the process works. And lastly, of course, we monitor and evaluate. The culture, it's ever changing. Okay. Management priorities, they will always change. Okay, but what's more important is that the process, okay, has to be consistent. If we'd like to measure certain focus areas, then we need to establish how frequent, okay, what would be the metrics, who should do it, how do we evaluate it, and what are we going to do with the findings. Okay, so that is the long term. Short term would be red flags must be addressed immediately. And then if there is a need, we reassess and reshape as necessary. So that's it. That's the basic steps that you might want to look into when you develop your own WQ metrics. So again, perhaps you may already have those, some of those focus areas in your current measurements. Okay. Hopefully you can also look into those other focus areas to expand your WQ standards. So that ends my presentation. I hope that you were able to glean additional insights on how we can combine business growth, business profitability with continuous people growth. Thank you and good afternoon.
All right, thank you again, Miss Macy Asupan, for that. No, that is what we call the WQ. Previously, we have learned about the SQ, IQ, and EQ. Now there's WQ, or workplace intelligence. Now talking about the workplace intelligence. Now, as we have seen from the previous topics. Excuse me, for from the yesterday's session, we've been seeing AIs, we've been seeing AIs integrated in e-learning, we've been seeing AIs integrated in as well as recruitment. Now the workplace intelligence talks about the trends, no, and also the processes and operating models that can be used to integrate this workplace intelligence. Now, how do new technologies, Miss Macy, and trends influence the way work will be done in the coming future? Because the workplace intelligence has been adapted by BPOs or by multinational companies. But how about the organizations like manufacturing? How about from the retail industry? Is this applicable to all industries, or is it just about just perception,
That's a
Macy?
very good question, Jester. Just to share with you, I've worked with an organization, it's a manufacturing company, and their products are basically farm-based. So you can imagine the majority of the farms do not have internet. They do not have access to those platforms. So I think the challenge is not really to integrate technology as fast as we can, but rather it is to slowly transition our organization to be more comfortable in using technology. So during the transition, it will be expected that we need to employ hybrid methodology. So that will mean using technology, the digital platforms, and then you need to well apply the pen and paper approach. And But the good thing about it is, yes, there is always a learning opportunity there, because what we might be using in the pen and paper methodology can be something that we can use to improve our technological approaches. So it is a pain point, but hopefully we'll go there.
Right, and actually, it's a win-win situation because you get to have engaged employees as well as you get to have an efficient employees because of the assistance of the technology with us. Now, um, which critical roles do you think and skills are becoming more relevant in the defined units? Which ones are becoming less relevant, especially that we are in looking into having a workplace intelligence.
Oh, that might be different from one organization to another. And I will always go back to the basic tenet that you need to look into what would be your business priorities, and then you align the skills necessary to support those goals. We cannot repurpose, okay, or we cannot change something that might not work for the organization simply because they are not supportive of what the business mission is all about. So always go back to that, and then you would know which skills should be repurposed, not changed entirely, but repurposed, and then what are the things that we have to look for in our new talent pool.
All right. Now, of course, no. Before we end your session, we would also like to know what will be the careful considerations that we need to take into before we have this workplace intelligence be included in our business models or even in our operations.
Yes, that's a very good question, Jester. As I have mentioned early on, you don't really need to integrate all of these focus areas because you might already have some of those. And when we introduce certain metrics in the organization, there will definitely be questions at the management level. Why do we need to do this? Why do we need to come up with this? And it might need a lot of selling, okay, so that they can support you. So my take on it is to try it first with those existing focus areas that you already have before you slowly present the other focus areas. Coming up with a WQ metrics is not an overnight success. It will require, okay, intensive understanding assessment so that you would know what would be relevant, and at the same time you will need the support of the management as well as the people who will be part of the measurements.
All right. No, again, it's best to consider those things. Now, as for the last question, what will be your pro tips? No, being the enabler for this activities. Now, and initiatives. So, what will be your pro tips you can give to get the maximum value from workplace intelligence?
Okay, so same with all of those metrics. It will be far different from one organization to another. It will be great if we have one standard metrics for all organization, but we know that that won't be the case. So for me, it will be you understand what are the global trends, okay, and compare it with the industry benchmarks. And then go back to what would be the important priorities at the organization. That is very valuable. If you understand how workplace intelligence should be measured because it supports your business goals, then you are on the right track. Sometimes there are a lot of models available outside. Okay, we pay millions for those measurements, but it might not be giving you the right answers to your current workplace challenges. So I will encourage our HR practitioners to learn and try to see how you can develop something internally, but please do not be too insular so that such that you can't appreciate what is happening globally. So again, my take here is that you look at what's happening outside, okay, so that the things that you are going to put into the organization is something within industry standard, but what you are implementing in the organization will be what matters to your organization.
Right. So that's very true. No, it's really important to also build a case. Else, no, these initiatives will not just hinder the operations because it might be integrated at the wrong time, at the wrong place, and even facilitated by the wrong people. Else, no, this will really fail. So, with that in mind, thank you very much, Miss Macy Asupan, for that talk. So, with